Welcome back everyone to my Let's Play of Final Fantasy V, the Four Job Fiesta for Tiny Toad's Rat Rescue. In our last episode we had just gotten the Earth Crystal, and that unlocked our fourth job, the Blue Mage. Now normally the Blue Mage is unlocked from the Wind Crystal, but the way the jobs are set up, there's 6 Wind Crystal jobs, 5 Water, 5 Fire, and then 4 Earth, so they don't really balance themselves out. So in able to get all the different jobs, I ended up just having to have one playthrough where I had to have 2 Wind Crystal jobs, and it just happened to be this one right here. So now I finally can unlock the Blue Mage job. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just use this episode to collect all the different blue magic spells that I can. So I'm not really going to be following the spirit of the Fiesta, where I got to have one of each job. I'm going to turn everybody into a Blue Mage, just because the only way to learn blue magic spells is to have either a character who is a Blue Mage or who has the Blue Mage learning ability equipped get hit by a blue magic spell that can be learned. So just to speed things up, I'm going to turn everybody into a Blue Mage, and once I learn all the magic that I can in this world, I'll turn them back to the different Fiesta jobs. So I'm going to buy a bunch of rods. Blue Mages can actually equip rods, and we're going to need them to kind of break kind of an optional super boss, an optional super enemy basically in this world. So I picked up just a few of them to break. Main thing with rod, when you break a rod, is that it does level 3 elemental spell of the rod that it is. So Thunder Rod would do Lightning 3, Flame Rod would do Fire 3, Frost Rod would do Ice 3. So I'm just gonna get a bunch of them. You can also, if you equip them, and they boost the elements. So if you have a Flame Rod equipped and then use a Fire Elemental spell, you'll do some extra damage with it. So now basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to be off-screen and going to different places and picking up the blue magic. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to head to back to the Pirate's Cave, and I want to get the Vampire blue magic spell off of the Steel Bat. So I'm just going to get into a fight here. We can also learn the Goblin Punch from goblins in this area. But we can also pick that up from our next destination, the Wind Shrine. We're going to pick up some blue magic there. So, alright, so we got hit by the vampire. So now once we defeat this battle, these enemies, you'll see that we learned Vampire. So now that'll appear in our blue magic list. Now, the interesting thing about blue magic is it's a shared resource. So even though Faris was the only one who got hit by that vampire spell, anybody who's a blue mage will be able to use that, or has the blue magic ability equipped will be able to use that magic. So there's our second blue magic, the Goblin Punch. You can learn that from goblins or the black goblins here. And also in the Wind Shrine, we can learn the aero spell off these mold wind enemies. So we're just going to hang out. Now, to learn an ability, like I said, you have to either be a Blue Mage or have the Blue Mage learning ability equipped. Learning is learned at level 2, 30 job points total. So you need 10 to learn the first Blue Mage ability, and then 20 more to gain the learning ability. So, now, what happens is you have to get hit by the blue magic spell, and then you have to be conscious at the end of the battle. So you can't be in like a petrified state or a KO'd state at the end of the battle. So that's gonna be important for a blue magic later on. I'm gonna do some off-screen leveling. I'm gonna get Lena up to level 30 so that I can learn the blue magic spell level 5 Death. So what will happen when we get that spell is I will get hit by it, and Lena will die, but then before, she'll be knocked out, but before I finish the battle, I will revive her with the Phoenix Down, so she'll learn that spell. So our next blue magic is going to be the Flash spell, and we can learn it off those headstone enemies. However, they don't have the necessary MP to cast it, so if you want to learn it from them, you have to throw an ether on them to give them the magic points necessary to cast that spell. Another alternative to learning the Flash spell is the crew dust enemies back in the fire ship. you'd have to go back to the catapult, land in the catapult, and then you can get into the fire ship there. Remember the crew dust, if they're left alone, they'll cast the flash spell. But it's just easier to go to the North Mountain here, throw an ether on these guys, and just wait for them to cast the flash spell. So there we go. That causes blind on an enemy. And now we'll just finish this guy off. And we'll have our fourth blue magic spell, Flash. Alright, there we go. Learn Flash. And now we're going to head here to Walsh Tower, and we want to fight these elf toads, but we want to, we have to leave them by themselves. So we're going to have to take out one of the ice soldier back there, and we're going to also have to take out one of the elf toads, because the blue magic that we're trying to get them to learn is called Pawn's Course, and it basically turns a character into a frog. But the elf toad will only use it when it's by itself, so just get into a fight with these enemies, get to the elf toad all by itself, and then you'll see it'll cast the Pawn Course, which turns a character into a frog. So Vampire, the first spell we learned, that steals hit points off an enemy and heals the character for the damage it does. Goblin Punch does non-elemental damage, and it does 4 times the amount of damage if the caster's level is equal to the target's level. Aero is just a weak wind spell. Flash blinds enemies. And here's our 6th blue magic spell, is going to be quadruple question mark. And that does damage equal to the amount of damage that the caster has sustained. So we're just going to hang out here with these wild knacks, and don't want to attack them. So see, when they do that like weird blink, and then we get all those hits on a character, that's them casting that spell. So this is obviously a spell that's really good when you have a lot of hit points and took a lot of damage in a battle, because then you can use it on whoever hit you. But for right now, it's not all that good, because our characters don't have a lot of hit points, but you might as well pick it up. So, now there's a few blue magic spells that we ain't gonna be able to get in this first world, because a lot of blue magic can be learned in the Ronkan Ruins, and we didn't have access to the blue mage there. And there's also some spells that we can't get unless you use the beastmaster control ability to control an enemy and then force the enemy to cast it on you. But we're just gonna get all that we can, so, and there'll be 13 total. So now we're going to fight bombs here around the Jackhole region, and we're going to wait for them to do a self-destruct. And basically what self-destruct does is it costs the caster his life, but it does damage equal to the caster's remaining hit points. So say if Tiny Toe used it right now, the self-destruct, it would do 841 damage. So now sometimes, right now, Tiny Toe has the Ancient Sword. There it is, Exploder right there. Sometimes it's called self-destruct, but same thing. Sometimes you see that, like, cloud appear when Tiny Toe hits somebody. He has the Ancient Sword, and that cloud appearing is him inflicting the old status on a character. So, an old, you know, like when it hits on a lot of characters, their hair turns gray, and basically their stats get reduced. So makes them do a lot less damage, so it's pretty good. So yeah, Blue Mage, very versatile class. They can use some pretty good armors, good weaponry with swords, and then the rods. And Blue Magic is can be really broken in this game. So there's some really good Blue Magic spells. So, and he's really putting a lot of making those folks old. So there we go. We got the Exploder. Now we want to head here to Crescent Island, and I'm going to head up here toward the beach type area, because we want to run into the Black Flame enemies. They can use a spell called Dark Shock, and what Dark Shock does is it halves the target's level. Because level is part of the damage equation, both for physical and magical damage that an enemy inflicts, halving their level can have a significant impact on the amount of damage that an enemy can do to you. So this is a really good spell, especially against bosses. So yeah, some bosses actually don't resist the Dark Spark, and some, you know, pretty much some super enemies also don't resist it. So it makes it easier to survive encounters with those enemies, because they'll be doing less damage to you, and you'll also be doing some more damage to them. So it can also be useful on some bosses, because another magic, I mentioned it earlier, that we're picking up is level 5 death. Dark Spark, when it halves an enemy's level, it halves it and then rounds down. So say you have an enemy, like at level 51, well, you couldn't use level 5 death on it, but if you do Dark Spark on it, it'll turn it to level 25.5, round it down to 25, then it puts it in range for that level 5 death spell. So there's actually some bosses that you can Dark Spark and then use a level 5 death to take them out instantly. So yeah, very useful spell. The only thing that makes it that limits its usefulness is that it is really expensive to use. So 38 MP, but hey, you can always buy a bunch of ethers to heal your character up. So yeah, definitely want to pick that spell up here. So it'll help us when we fight a few some tougher enemies, because we got some tough enemies to fight to learn some more magic spells. So some of these blue magic. So let's just use some Goblin Punches here. Goblin Punch is good because it doesn't cost anything to use, so 0 magic. And like I said, if you have the same level as your character as the target, you do quadruple damage. So alright, now that we picked up Dark Spark, we can head over here to the desert to fight this Dorm Chimera enemy, which is pretty tough. But we're gonna Dark Spark it and take off some of its levels to make it deal less damage in case it uses that aqua breath again. Aqua breath is another blue magic spell that we want to learn from this guy. So use our vampire to heal ourselves up here. So we're dealing damage and healing ourselves at the same time. So, and vampire's kind of a cheap spell. So that Dark Spark will definitely help us take this guy out. So if he gets another chance to use that aqua breath, we'll see that it does do a little bit less damage than it did last time, since we cut his level down. So ouch. Tiny Toad's not doing too good with his magic. But yeah, he has the worst magic multiplier of these characters. Lena has the highest. So there's the aqua right there. Still does some decent damage, but it does help to, like I said, lower enemies' levels. So we almost got this guy. Let's finish him off here. Oop, he knocked out Lena. Dope. That's okay, we're gonna get Lena a bunch of levels. Like I said, I'm gonna be using, I'll be leveling her up to level 30. I don't wanna have all my characters up to level 30 because then they'd all be knocked out by that level 5 death spell that we're gonna learn. So next we want to head to the this little island to the southwest of Crescent Island, and we're gonna take on this prototype enemy. And he's really tough. So definitely want to get as much use out of the Dark Sparks as possible. So he's really hard to damage because he has really high defense. So this is the enemy that we bought all those rods to break on him. So we're just going to use our Dark Sparks until we bring his level down a little bit, and then we're just going to equip rods. We can do that through the equip menu. And then we go up into our press up at the top of the item menu, and it goes into your hand, the item that you have in your hand, and then you just double click on the rod and you'll break it. And like I said, it casts the appropriate level 3 elemental spell. So they do about like 700 to 800 damage. So about 7 or 8 rods, depending on how well they roll, will take this guy out. So we just the rods. There we go. Go back up to our hand, hit it, and we'll break it. So it doesn't matter which one we use. I just like to use the thunder because it seems appropriate, you know, to use thunder on machines. So we're going to learn 2 blue magic spells from this guy here. we're learning the missile, which takes off 3/4 of a character's target's hit points. And then we're also going to learn that flamethrower, the emission spell, which just does fire damage. So, yep, 2 blue magics from this guy right here. So, this guy's also good at dropping, he always drops a dark matter, which is a really good item for a bunch of good mixes for the chemist class, but we don't have the chemist class, so we won't be able to use it, so. But whoop, we took him out, got some good experience, learned missile and emission, and also got that dark matter. Now we just have a few more, 3 more blue magic spells to learn, and we can actually technically learn all 3 of them here in the ancient library, but one of them is going to be hard to get, so we'll get that from another place. But first one we will learn is the aera spell there, which is basically aero 2. You can learn that from page 32. So, take him out, and we're hoping to get page 64 then, because page 64 is the one that can use the level 5 death, and that instantly knocks out any character that has a level multiple of 5. So I did some off-screen grinding up by History. I knocked out Tiny Toe and Faris so that they wouldn't be at level 30. I got them to everyone up to level 29, and then I just had Lena fight by herself to get to level 30. Later on in the game, we're going to lose Lena for a little portion of the game, so that's why I decided to get her gain some extra levels. So, he just keeps using this, but we want to make sure that before we defeat this guy, Lena is back on her feet, not in that KO status, otherwise we won't learn that blue magic, the level 5 death, so. If a page 256 popped up, we can learn the last blue magic spell off of it, the moon flute, and that's the blue magic that basically makes everybody a berserk status. But page 256, it's kind of tough to have pop up, so an easier way to get it is to head back to the Walt's Castle, and this guy here, the Jackanapes, he uses it as a counter whenever he's hit by physical damage, so. Unfortunately, this battle does not go as well as I would like it to have gone. You want to have a Berserker because the Berserker can actually bypass the Jackanapes' defense. Preferably, what would have happened would have been before Faris would have hit the Jackanapes and forced him to use the Moon Flute, Tiny Toe and Lena might have been able to get off a Dark Spark or 2 to half the Jackanapes level so it does less damage. But, didn't happen, so we also would hope that, Tiny Toe would hit this guy and maybe give him the old status to help reduce his stats and the damage that he does and takes, but oh well. It's okay. We end up defeating this guy anyway, so. Moon Flute can be pretty good if you, now while Berserk does make an enemy hit harder, one of the advantages of Berserking an enemy is that its hit percentage goes down a little bit, and it also rewrites the enemy's entire AI script, so the enemy will just fight. So if the enemy has like a really tough special ability or special spell that it uses, rewriting its AI script to just attack would help you bypass that, terrible attack or spell. So there can be uses for the Moon Flute blue magic. So, ouch. So yeah, too bad. Would have been better if the Jackanapes would have taken out Lena there, because she don't have a weapon equipped to. The reason she doesn't have a weapon equipped because the other sword that I had, the coral sword, that sword is elemental, and the Jackanapes is healed by any elemental damage. So, well, that's all the blue magic that I can get for this thing. We'll pick up in our next episode back at the desert where the Ronkan Ruins crash. So, take care, have a good one. Thanks for following along. Bye!